Hello everyone, thank you for giving this opportunity of the assignment of vector vector shift AI. In this assignment, we have to connect backend and frontend using Oauth authentication system. Backend is built on Fast API and frontend is built on React JS and memory Redis is used as case memory, whereas the backend the data storage not as not as data storage but processing the data, temporarily storing it in cache memory. Let me take you to the scene. Here you can see the integrations, technical assignment, backend code. This is it has two parts. Backend and the front end. Front end is built on React. Here the code, here the timer. I have already installed it using npm I and using npm run it is running. By installing node modules gets installed with the packages like in this it will be emotions react style material just dom react use events access react dom react scripts react from web vitals. This will the package dependencies that are used in this project and this others also. The app.js integration, it's an integration form. So here it is. Here we have to add a hubspot integration which we have created here in the hubspot in the integrations folder of under source folder integrations folder. This was pre-built given to us the basic data for connecting to the server. By integrating it here we get an option. Let me take you to the UI test user test dog. That is we get the option hubspot. Also in that we get data from current integration, and other one is data form. This one is important because the data comes here and it will transform the data that we fetch from the what application of the backend. Here we have to stringify the data and pass it to it, giving spacing of 2. I have provided multi-line and row size of torque, which means torque characters it will store in multiple lines, no torque rows and multiple lines. App.js goes to integration forms integrates all the data by connecting to the hotspot integration. As you can see, integration mapping current type, current integration. Based on the type of integration, it fetches the data and process it. This was pre-given. And let's go to the backend system. It has so many packages to be installed. For this, we have to go to under shell and first create an environment using Python dash using Python v and env virtual environment. You can find comments like how to set up venv. By going to docs, you can learn it. Python dash venv, and I have given backend. That's here the folder came as backend. Inserted script was the script as active. This is the code. This is the file we have to activate. Source dot slash backend. The backend the name changes as per the name given in the virtual environment naming of view. And after that, it goes to the script folder and activate. That is the backend will be coming. In front end, you cannot, you don't see that. But in backend and with this parcel, I have created it. Okay. First thing, after creating it and activating it, yeah, you know how to install the files. Pip install dash r. How to install requirements text to Python. Pip install dash r and the file requirements.txt file, and you get a copy of it and get stored in here. In this backend, this library stores all the files such as httpx, where you can see it. Requirements, AMQs, and source and distributions, and you like this all the dependencies will install in this backend and library. Script is used to activate and deactivate the entire virtual environment for the project. And the main file, this is the file. Here we have to change this thing to load. They given it as get items hotspot. That was the thing, one thing you have to change. In Redis client, I have changed the port to 6380. I am running it virtual in the server, as 67 port was not finding in my system due to some issue. Could not create TCP linking site, and operation was attempt on something that is not a socket. But that's why I changed it to 6380 by going to the Redis folder in my computer. There is a start and port 6380 and working ID is port ID is 2000, and this some things that I run and tested. Redis has to be installed. For that you have to go to search for GitHub colon Redis download. You will get a person name TP Borodowski by going into his GitHub repository. You can find the Redis version for Windows if you are a Windows based system. Otherwise, you can go to Redis directly and you can install from there. You can install MSI or zip as per your use. But most of the time, it's better to install MSI and click on basic install steps. Most of the softwares that we download comes with a setup only. After which it's okay. And the backend Redis memory has been set up. Six ledger port has to be modified. If you are using handle port, always the SQL 637, you have to line in that port. In main.5, here the route has to be changed. Not there, I guess. Here it is. Not there only. Basically, they've given this fast API one. That seems we have to get fast API response, HTML response, HTTP exception from fast API and request, secrets to store the secrets, JSON to format JSON, base64 to encode the passwords and things, asynchronous IO to synchronize the data asynchronously, HTTPX formatting the data in a hypertext format. Request, as you know, as Python developers knows, request is used for scraping the data from the websites. And this is integration.contact integration item, formatting contact integrations that we fetch, for which I have created this. Let us ID created it, updated, archived, which time it was archived, first name, last name, email. Only this data will be seen by us now. We have to get Redis client, add key value pair, get value pair, delete value key Redis, client ID, client secret. This you will get from the hubspot account. I am adding it as it's those are secrets. Scope, you get objects contacts list, CRM objects customs and users, authorization URL http hubspot.com Oauth authorize redirect URL to your integrations hubspot or to callback. Then you call that function asynchronously authorize hubspot with user ID and organization ID, state data, state secrets token URL, safe32. To store the state in a secure manner of 32 size. SN user ID and organization ID directly. And encode those text using base64 URL safe 64 base encoding by dumping it in the JSON format. First encoded JSON data and the encoder form of UTF-8, and then this whole thing is basically encoded into URL safe base64 binary 64 type, and you decode it into UTF-8. That is, you can create a secure way of token authorizing URL. This is for calling the getting the organization from the HubSpot. Client ID, client ID, scope, redirect URL, and this three were essential for calling, for organizing an Oauth application using HubSpot. So that's why we have to provide client ID and scope and redirect URL. State we have passed from the above step one, and we have to asynchronously gather the information by in the form of key value pairs, honest ID, user ID, state data expressed after 600 milliseconds, that means around 6 seconds, and return this auth URL. That's that time the order gets completed. Then we connect to this hotspot, color that one. It's connecting using the client ID, scope, redirect URL, all the things that I have shown above is stored. This one is the included one of the text we have done. Okay, like this the thing gets encoded. We have to select developer test account as developer as the things that we want until this authorization has been completed. We want to call hotspot. If an error gets its license error found, a page not found, and gives some error description text. By getting we have get the code encoded state of the things from the parameters and store the state data we have encoded before. Original state was data honest ID using get value pair of Redis. As a Redis is important. If not saved or original data original state not equals to save state or state like HTTP founded state doesn't match. Using API API or PI token, grant type or code, redirect URI, client ID, client secret. After getting this response, delete the key, add key value pairs, honest ID, user ID, response. This one is not stored in a variable. As after getting a response, this state is not necessary, that's why we are deleting it. And this response is dumped into the clients in it also gets experience sequence. You get a pop-up Windows that grows. We have to return HTTP content. After that, we get the hotspot credentials, get honest ID, user ID. If not credentials, rise 400 error. If credentials space, load it into a JSON format. Delete the ready key or key value and return its credentials. Integration methods get created of the property and those things that we are creating content integration form. My charging is slow. Let me charge it. After it, we will fetch the data using authorization bearer access token. It's a string passed from by using the function itself. Status 200. That means page is okay. We get the response in JSON format, and in the form we get only the results, and we will store it and append it to the aggregator response. We present the data is stored and appended to the load data thing. Get item. Here I have passport. Let me go to the system and spread. Choose this account. If we are automatically connected to this thing, if you connect app, we got the HTTP hubspot credentials. And got connected directly. Now we have to fetch and get the items. If you click on load data, it loads the data. ID created date, update date, first name is Maria Johnson, sample contact, email Maria, and these things. That is stored in once only. In the front end, this thing is simple, not fancy. It has box, button, and circular progress from the material UI library. For better looks, output inclusion is it is counted or not, it's counting or not, and will connect click. Here this was connected, that is counted to true, cons form data. It is also part of its Python internal thing, JavaScript internal thing of React, and it gets event username and honest identity. These things, test use and test out. Yeah, waiting for the output authorizing. Writing the form data. If the response is there, then we fetch the data from the OutJRL for the OutJRL, and this thing with our HTTP authorization width of 600 and height of 600, which open in the second. I'm clicking the connecting full timer 2 seconds. New window is closed or not. Then create full timer, handle windows close. If not close, set the content to false and alert the user with the proper thing. Parameters, button display flex access, hubspot connected. After connecting, we get this thing. If you refresh it, select HTTP, connect to hotspot. This is the thing present here. I'm clicking the connecting button. It goes to the function and calls the things data required. Backend is important. Thread is important. Front end is important. Autley has to be connected. I got an error before. CORS, cross origin reference sharing. During that time I didn't set up the Redis environment, and that's why it did not connect. And after connecting this, run in 2 to 3 times the backend and frontend. And before this unicorn main column app dashes reload, I didn't done that. That's it used to fail. And after that is reloading again. That's one thing. Settings we have to change. Because of this API that we have changed those endpoint there, you may get it out why I have changed this thing to load for a year. Here this hubspot gets from the UI, not from UI but from here, the endpoint. That's why it is necessary. This is 600 size, 600 box that we have shown before. You have to set developer account. The normal account doesn't, because it doesn't have the necessary credentials settings. So let's say let's close this one. It closes an error, no credentials found. Connect a hotspot. Using developer accounts, you get the credentials. Connect to the app. The hotspot is connected. You connect platform again and again. It turns to a text as container. At the bottom with no functionalities. On Kraken load data, it facilitates load data from the backend. Create it and load again. It doesn't fetch as fetching again. Okay, let me show you how to set up this thing. We have to go to hotspot. You have to create normal account and developer account also. From normal account you get the credentials. On clicking apps, here to create an app, create app, and give the things details basically. I mean, in the auth you can find the necessary IDs and things. Here you have to change the redirect URL name. This also has to be given by creating it, otherwise it won't be created. And you have to give the scope that we have listed in the service, so that you will get the list of contacts, customers, users, lists and those things. On blueprint developer accounts, you get these things. You have to go to CRM companies. And create some companies. Like this, you connected to all the things that we need. First to backend. First you connected to backend. Backend next to frontend and next to Redis sketch to handle memory allocations and fetching the data from the server and handling it seamlessly and synchronizing to the backend of fast API. And we fetch the data as per requirement and displayed it in pretty JSON format, not making it. They said to display it as per the as per the rules. I have shown it in the pretty format of JSON. That's it. I hope this assignment fulfills the conditions. Let me show you the things they have given. That's it. Thank you for applying the stuff in the back front end and back and forth. So that's it. Make any changes to the product files. Okay. Change it around 4 to 5 files, including adding new or deleting existing if not necessary. Install new packages and modify the previous code. Use JavaScript React for frontend. Python fast API for backend. Assignment concept robots. Read all the assignment before plan and approach. Run the frontend by navigating to frontend directly and running npm and npm run start. Backend by navigating to backend directly and using the thing you Ubicon main app reload. They also said no, don't forget to spin up Redis instance using Redis server. They should mention this thing how to set up. It would be an helpful thing. Hotspot Vault integration that I have done. This for the contents to complete a file, say table and notion. One file that needs to be completed hotspot. The syntax is similar to this only. That is what they are saying. Structure. Find relevant documentation from the hotspot to finish the authorization hotspot and go to callback hotspot. Get hotspot to functions. The hotspot py. Front-end source for the call integrations. Condense JavaScript to existing table and notion as well as empty hotspot. Finish writing it. Add hotspot integration relevant places in the files. Table notion, let me The get items HubSpot. The second one, loading HubSpot items. Backend integrations HubSpot by query, getting the using the credentials. Return the list of integration objects that were written. Rest items list of parameters that may not be fulfilled depending on which integration we are working with. It's up to you to decide which space and endpoint of the HubSpot are important for HubSpot. You can reference the Notion and Airtable. Airtable and Notion integrations will work if you test them because the client integration has been retired. Client ID and distinction are provided. They are saying it. Let me talk you to the scene and show you. Here all things are there, but they have removed these things. Two things, the client ID and client secret. You can find this thing is similar to that only. And here this thing is also same. Here the state got changed and those few related things will be changed. That's it. I hope I fulfill the requirements of this project and display the output and the approach of my code by explaining the functionalities that I have built. Thank you for giving this opportunity. I hope to look forward to work with your team and thank you.